guys, John here from Sonic Drive Studio. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're checking out these awesome little pedal-sized 150 watt hybrid amplifiers by Baroni. And that's the previously released vintage voiced AFK150 and the brand new Jeval amplifier, which is basically a high gain beast. And before we go into the details, let's take a listen to how the Jeval sounds on the Rage channel, so that's the high gain channel, using my ESP LTD EC1000T CTM in vintage gold satin on the bridge pickup. Check it out. Alright, pretty nice tones, eh? So that was the Jeval amplifier on the Rage channel, so that's the distortion channel of this amplifier. And I recorded direct with the direct out on the back. So what are these amplifiers all about? These compact pedal-sized amps are made to deliver high quality and organic tube amp tones in any situation. So live or in the studio, going direct or through a real cabinet. And not only do they deliver really nice and organic tones, they're also really loud when you need them to be, with their wattage rating of a maximum of 150 watts. And these things are made really well with great components and great care. Now I do think that these amplifiers compete with amplifiers like the Blue Guitar Amp 1, because they're also pedal sized and they also have like a hybrid design. But these are a bit more compact and more straightforward with just 2 channels and a very unique design as well. I must say that I really like how these amplifiers look. And they come with these wooden sides that you can put on your desk or on the top of a cabinet, but you can also remove these and put the amplifiers on your pedal board. So that's a nice touch. So each of these amplifiers has 2 channels, a clean channel and a drive channel. Now the clean channels on both amplifiers are very similar, if not exactly the same, but the drive channels, that's where these amplifiers differ. The vintage voiced amp, so the AFK150, has a drive channel that's voiced like a vintage British amplifier, so kind of like a Marshall Plexi or something like that. And the Rage channel on the Jeval is a high gain beast, so chunky and big sounding with plenty of gain, similar sounding to something like a 5150 for example, but with its own voice. Now in the intro you already heard the Rage channel of the Jeval, but we're going to explore all the other tones as well. But yeah, both have a cool character and a great response. They feel great to play and they sound awesome too. Talking about the feel and the response, something that really helps and contributes to that is this preamp tube. So each one of these amplifiers has a tube in it, and that really helps to keep the tone organic with that nice sort of sag and response. And in terms of control layout, both amplifiers are basically identical. Each channel has a dedicated volume and gain control, and each channel also has a 3-band EQ with bass, mids, and treble. And there's also a global master volume control and a global presence control. I did notice that the presence control only works for the speaker outs and not for the direct output. And the foot switch over here lets you choose between the 2 channels. And then we have these 3 switches over here. We have a ground lift switch, and then also a cab sim bypass for the direct out. Now that's an analog cab sim, I believe, because I believe these amplifiers are fully analog. It sounds okay, it's handy to have, but it's not the best sounding cabinet sim in my opinion. But let's take a quick listen to how that sounds. So there you have it. It's pretty cool to have that option nonetheless. And then the effects loop, which these also have, they have a switch over here where you can choose between series or parallel. And they recommend using parallel for digital effects so that the signal of the amplifier doesn't have to go through that conversion. There is a standby switch on the back, which is handy. And then 2 speaker outs. One has 8 to 16 ohms and the other has 4, 8, and 16 ohms. Then we have the line out over here, the effects loop, and the guitar input. Now for all my main sound demos, as per usual, I'm using OwnHammer impulse responses, and I'm using the line out for all these tracks, with the built-in cabinet sim turned off, of course. That is my main method of recording, but for fun, what I'll also do later in the video is crank one of these amplifiers up through my ENGL 2x12, just to see how it responds in the room and how loud it can get. Because believe me, these things can go very loud when cranked up through a real cabinet, so that definitely will work on stage. Oh, and by the way, I also tried to run these amplifiers with the speaker outs through my Capture X, but I actually preferred the sound of the simple line out, so that's great. All right, let's do a quick demo of the clean channels of these amplifiers, kind of as a comparison, so with these amps side by side, and I think you'll hear that both amplifiers sound pretty much identical on the clean channels. And I'm also going to put a reverb pedal in the effects loop, my Laney Black Country Customs Secret Path reverb pedal on the plate setting. And the guitar that I'll use this time is my ESP LTD EC1000T CTM, but the blue one on the neck pickup. Check it out. Cool, nice tones, definitely not bad. I don't think that these clean tones are amazing, but they do the job fine. They sound a little bit safe, if you know what I mean. They're not very bright, not very dark sounding, they're just somewhere in the middle. I tend to prefer clean channels that are a little bit more bright and with a little bit more character, but these clean channels do the job just fine and they will work well with a wide variety of guitars. You could also always spice the tone up a little with an EQ pedal or something. Now what I want to do is check out the vintage voiced drive channel on the AFK150 just for some classic rock tones. And for that purpose, I'm going to use my ESP LTD EC1000T in charcoal burst, again with the Fishman Fluence classic open core pickups on the bridge pickup, but this time with the classic PAF voicing for a more vintage tone. Let's see how that sounds. Check it out. Awesome, nice and crunchy. I really like how this amplifier sounds for those vintage tones. Now I want to try one more tone with the heavy Jeval on the Rage channel. This time I want to try a bit more of an extreme guitar. My ESP LTD Phoenix 7 baritone with Fishman Fluence Modern in the bridge, tuned to A flat, I believe. So let's see how the Rage channel handles those extreme low tunings. Check it out. Great, that was most impressive. So as you heard, these things sound really nice when you plug them in direct and use impulse responses. But like I said, of course you can also crank them up through a real cabinet and they will sound chunky and huge indeed. And I'm gonna try to sort of let you guys see how that sounds, but it's not gonna translate really well into a video, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm just gonna use the Jeval on the Rage channel through my ENGL 2x12 in the room, and I'll crank it up a little bit slowly so you guys can sort of hear how that sounds. I'm gonna use a room microphone and perhaps the mics of the camera as well. We'll see how that turns out. But in any case, I hope it gives you an idea of how loud these things can go, okay? I'm not gonna crank it up all the way because that would be crazy, but I'll see how far I can go and I'll see how comfortable I'll remain. Okay, check it out. Okay, let's try this in the room. So that's like a very low practice level. Let's raise it up a little bit. Already a bit louder. Let's turn it up some more. It's already fairly, it's getting loud. But this is still an acceptable level. It sounds really chunky, by the way, in the room. Let's turn it up some more. Walls are starting to shake a little bit. I'm not going to be able to turn this up all the way, but it's already quite loud. And the master volume control is at about 10 o'clock or so. Woo! Okay, so that was loud enough for me. Maybe you guys like it even louder, but that was with the master volume dial a bit under halfway. So this thing can go loud AF in the room through a real cabinet. And it sounds super chunky too. And the feel is great too in the response. Awesome. All right, so that was the Baroni amplifiers, the AFK150 for the vintage goodness, and the brand new Jeval for the heavy stuff. They look cool, they are straightforward and easy to use, they sound great, and they certainly pack a punch, and you can use them in a wide variety of situations in your studio, for practice, for playing live, for whatever you want basically. So if you're looking for a compact and small hybrid amplifier with 2 channels that can go pretty damn loud, these might be worth looking into. Now they do only have 2 channels each, obviously, but for a lot of players that is more than enough. But that's good to know. So in that case, I definitely recommend these awesome Baroni amplifiers. Disclaimer, this video was sponsored, but as always, all thoughts and opinions are 100% my own. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop a like and subscribe down below, as it really helps the channel out. I'd hugely appreciate that. Also drop a comment down below to let me know your thoughts on these amplifiers. And of course, you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!